Hi, this is me Rizwanullah Khan from Pakistan, and today I am here with a new lesson video as been suggested and demanded by one of the reviewers of my teaching portfolio at final stages. So before going to discuss that what I have done so far in my previous lesson plan videos and what I am going to do in the current video, let me tell you that I am really thankful and grateful to the reviewers for the motivational remarks he has provided. They are really it boosted my energy and keep me motivated. So now let's come to the point that instead of practically implementing my lesson plans inside the class by engaging learners in the teaching learning process, I have just spoke out my lesson plan, and there are different reasons why I did this. So the first reason goes that the level of learners at which I am teaching is a primary level, where the learners are 7 to 8 years of age and they don't understand English language. So we keep the medium of instruction their native language, which is a Pashto language. They don't even know completely the second language, which is Urdu language. So the teaching learning process usually uh, take place in their mother tongue, so it's not feasible for me to implement those lesson plan inside the class. The second reason is that schools at primary levels, even at high levels and higher secondary levels, are not equipped with technological instruments like internet connections, tablets, computer labs. Even students are not allowed to carry their cell phones inside the class. So it was also one of the reasons. In the presence of these two reasons, personally I thought that it's not feasible for me to practically implement those lesson plan inside the class, because I believe, and it's a fact, that teaching learning is a two-way process. So if you are implementing a lesson plan and you don't have learners of the target level, and you don't have those technological instruments to implement inside the class that you have proposed in your lesson plan, so really it makes sense that it was not feasible for me. And one thing more that you suggested, that you should consider or you should imagine the learner sitting in front of me and you are teaching to them. So it's a good idea, but I don't personally take it as a real stance, because if you don't have learners, you don't have their responses. When you don't have their responses, you cannot move to the warm up activities and link it to the objectives discussions. You are another stage, that is instructor model, and then the guided practice, and then independent practice really will be impacted, because for all these stages to implement inside the class, you must have active learners inside the class that understand the language in which you have proposed the lesson plans and in which you are teaching. So it makes a sense that if you don't have learners and you don't have technological instruments, by only imagine and only by imagining them, it's not possible as well as feasible to practically implement those lessons plans in the absence of the learners. One thing more I should tell you, to be very frankly, if a person can prepare such a lesson plan which can be used by other instructors of English language, and which are up to the mark and up to the criteria and fulfills the requirements of the TESOL certificate, and can speak those lesson plans directly to a video recording in order to justify himself that he is worthy of preparing lesson plan and can speak out those lesson plans though, so it's not a big deal for him to practically implement those lesson plan inside the class, because if he is able to prepare a lesson plan and to speak out that lesson plan, then the third thing, which is practically implementing those lesson plans, is not a big deal for him. And I personally have had made um, hundreds of lesson plans and have practically implemented those inside the class when back in 2018 and 2019 and 2020 I was teaching at college, at university and colleges level, because there were the institution were equipped with technological instruments, internet connections, computer labs, and learners were able you know to understand English language, because here in our country Pakistan, at intermediate level, the medium of instruction is mostly the English language. So I have prepared lesson plans back in 2018, 19 and 2020. I have implemented those lesson plans practically inside the colleges and institution environments, so it's not a big deal for me to demonstrate practically that I am capable of practically implementing those lesson plans. It's not a big deal for me to teach present perfect tense to intermediate level learners and to implement the lesson plans I have prepared for present perfect tense. So it's not a big deal. Usually, when I used to teach present perfect tense inside the class, I come to the class, have interaction with the student first, then start the warm up and objective discussion section by asking few questions, like in the present perfect tense, like have you traveled to a new city, have you taken your breakfast mm, what we have covered so far, these types of questions. Then students mostly provided their answer in the same tense. Then I link by pointing out have and the past participle form of the main verb. Then we have used this verb, and today we will talk about present perfect tense, and the objectives are that you will be able to understand present perfect tense, you will be able to identify present perfect tense in a text, and you will be practically able to implement by making and writing and creating sentences in present perfect tense. Then I usually move towards the instruct and model, where I usually write down the structure formula of the present perfect tense, like subject, helping verb have has, then past participle followed by object, and then I used to write 5 to 6 examples on the board. Then I've moved towards the guided practice stage of my lesson plans, where I provided a reading draft or a text, and by instructing them that you have to point out and you have to mark the present perfect tense in the text. Then they do this activity. If someone is doing that activity wrongly and were not able to practically point out that, and were doing mistakes, I also guide them. Then I moved towards the independent practice, where I ask students to write practically sentences by using those, and in the end assessment. So it's my kind request to please review my this video and understand my case. I am MPhil in applied linguistics, and I am worthy of teaching English language and practically implementing those lesson plans. Thank you so much. Hope you would mark my teaching portfolio and help me in passing out this course and getting the TESOL certificate. Thank you so much, Umar.